Good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back. We are here and we are ready to go. We'll kick in a couple of minutes. Of course, at this very moment, all is well and working well, but we shall see if that continues. As always, please share, like, click, subscribe. You're on YouTube. Share this out, whether YouTube or Facebook. You can definitely share it. This is not in any way private or blocked, or so if you share it on Facebook Messenger, they'll be able to see it. Most people don't quite realize that if someone's page is private and they share a video from their friend's page with people who are not connected to the friend, well, Facebook does not, because of course the person's page is private, so you can't see. So I get videos from time to time like that, and I can't see them. So it's imperative that we kind of know how to use these platforms if we're going to use them, right? But that being said, my Facebook page is not private. Of course, my YouTube page is certainly available. Victory in Christ Broadcasting Channel. You see the logo over my head. I'm always which way do we point here? Over my head. That's if you type in Victory in Christ and you see that logo, the Bible and the cross, then you have found me. And by all means, like, click, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, which is literally a button. Turn that off before I click on that. It's 9 Central Standard Time, so we're going to get into our topic on tonight. I don't even say we're going to get out here early because once I get rolling, that's not necessarily how that works. But we will certainly make some effort on this evening to do so, partly because my allergies, this is just that time of year, and they have been acting up something fierce. I bought some allergy medicine. I usually like to get the 24-hour kind, and I thought that's what I got, but I didn't. This is apparently every 6 hours, no more than 4 times a day, so that's roughly 6 hours of life that it contains. So if I don't stay on top of it, those symptoms just come rushing back, and then I got to try to get some allergy medicine in me and that type of thing. So right now I'm cleared up and we're good. So let's get rocking. Trolls. Now, for those who've watched me over the years, and I have been doing this for years, this is not a topic I get into. I don't even mention it typically in my times of discussion on this broadcast, or even when I'm talking to people. And let me just say, if you've watched any of my broadcasts and you're wondering, Gabe, you deal with trolls? No, I don't deal with trolls directly. I'm a very difficult person to troll. Because again, if you watch my broadcast, I come with receipts for anything I'm saying, and I'm fully prepared to give an answer. As a matter of fact, I should have pulled those scriptures as well. And I think I see what is a drag here. It's my YouTube page. Not sure why, but it's taking a minute. Anyway, so I don't get trolled. Somebody comes and says something to me. I'm fully prepared, fully equipped and prepared to respond. And honestly, I don't mind the back and forth. I didn't necessarily get this person's permission, so I won't say their name, but I am connected to a person on Facebook I consider to be a friend, and occasionally they are trolled. This is a fellow Christian, and so when they express their Christian beliefs, they have a gentleman in particular who I have interacted with on their page more than once. Uh, um, and he is really the impetus for this. So I hope she shares this video out on her page. If she feels like she's comfortable enough to tag him. Well, sir, how are you? Good evening, or whenever you're watching. So, I'm not going to get. I mean, I looked up some articles, and matter of fact, I can post them. I was just waiting for my YouTube to finally open up. It did. Not sure why my Facebook wasn't fully open. But anyway, yeah, something about opening up that YouTube has caused other laptop to run slow. But anyway, so I'm not necessarily going to get into all the different kind of situations and scenarios of trolling and things of that nature. I am going to put an emphasis on when you're sharing your faith, and of course, as a Christian, I'm going to deal with that in particular. I suspect people get trolled from any particular political, religious, on and on and on and on. There's a certain disposition for trolls. You just wait for my article to open up here. I got everything else open. Let's see what we get. But there's a certain kind of disposition that the researchers, and let me just say, if you're wondering why this is a significant topic, if you've ever been trolled, then of course it is significant to you. It's really a type of bullying, even though some of the articles I read separate an online bully, from a troll, and I think that's just severity. I think that's just levels of trolling. That's bullying is where it goes way beyond, and sometimes it even becomes very much up into your actual life in terms of your physical life. Trolls tend to stick very strictly to the boundaries of the online experience, websites and things of that nature. Web bullying or internet bullying goes beyond that a lot of times. But I think that's just a matter of degrees. But that's just me. There are articles done, and if you want to understand the severity, there's articles done by psychologists and psychiatrists, studies done. So this is not some simple thing. And as I put in my write-up, I have addressed these matters before, but let me say it now. Let me be as kind as I can be. This notion that online is a fictitious world makes no sense. It is a world unto itself, true. But when you start seeing people, and unfortunately this happened a few years ago, where a man broadcasting himself walked up to a gentleman and shot and killed him. People have posted them driving and getting away, police chases. There was another gentleman who broadcast himself on his way to his baby's mama's house, where he would proceed to walk in and murder her and her son. I think she was pregnant. This was some years ago. So this idea, when these things started over 20 years ago, maybe more like 30 years ago, yes, it was relatively harmless, MySpace, whatever. But the moment people start posting very real aspects of their lives, when they start talking about things like being lonely. Now, this is going to get personal. You know me. I don't shy away from these things. I'm not going to say anybody's name. But the moment somebody starts sharing their personal experiences and starts referring to things in their life, the notion that the internet is not real, you can say that, but you don't mean it, or you don't understand it. And I'm not trying to be mean. Gabe, I can feel the way I want. Yes, you can. But you are not paying attention, because let me tell you how I know you're being disingenuous, because you clicked on a post that said something about pray for my XYZ because they're in the hospital. And the moment you clicked on it, you acknowledged how real that situation was. The reason why even Facebook and pretty much all the rest of them moved away from just like, there were people who started saying, I need more emojis than just like. When Facebook and MySpace all the first came out, you could just like a post. Well, people didn't want to click like on a post of somebody dying. Why? Because they knew death was a real thing. So when you put a post up that has some language in it or something, and so you want people to believe, oh, the internet is no big deal, because you don't want your post to be criticized, but yet you put the post there. And let me just say this as well, since I'm already down this road. The notion that it's your business because it's your page exclusively. Well, Gabe, you said this. No, stay with me. Listen very, very carefully. I post for others. I'm not posting for me. Even if I post about me personally, I'm posting so that others can consume what I disseminate or put out. This notion that you're on Facebook and you don't care completely, so you can say anything you want to do, anything you, believe it or not, people are going through defamation situations because of things that they have disseminated or put out there, including on social media. The idea that you can just say freedom of speech is not as free. We don't understand that the founding fathers did not mean say whatever you want. That's why the word defamation exists. So I can get on here and slam all the teachers and defame the teachers who teach my son and others in the Bossier Parish School District. And if I have some influence, I'm going to get sued, especially if parents start pulling their children out. If I was somebody in position and I started doing that, I'm costing people jobs. That's defamation of character. So freedom of speech is yes, protects your right to say, but you can't defame people. There's this thing called liable. Now, I don't want to go all into that, but this notion that the internet is this fake place makes no sense. I'm very real. I feel that. What makes those things funny, what makes TikTok and YouTube and all of that what it is because it's real people. When people try to mimic those things they see, those TikTok challenges, and they die. And all you can say is, well, why are they trying to do that? It's not real. They're dead. Because in one sense, they were told that this is not real, but they really tried to do it. So when they really tried to do it, it made it real. When you share, I'm lonely, when you ask people to pray because somebody is sick, you make the experience real. And you dare that anyone would come and suggest your dad ain't dying. Why are you sharing that on Facebook? That's not real. Why are you doing a video on TikTok? Your dad ain't really dying. Your mom ain't really sick. Your boss ain't really being mean to you. We don't want to hear that. Don't share anything serious on these platforms. No, a long time ago, when somebody figured out that they could say something real, it became real. And so stop, because in a sense, you're almost trolling, or maybe even worse, bullying. Now, if all you ever share is funny memes and all you ever do is just say goofy things and dance around, so you think that it's not real because you don't do that in your real life, I'm gonna jump down your throat too, because that's real. Being funny is real. There's a whole industry called comedy. $1 billion industry called comedy. So that's real too. Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, and on and on. And these are millionaires, multi-millionaires for doing slapstick and all kind of brands of comedy. So the notion that because you're dancing around in a funny way, it's not real. Are you not real? Do you seek to be real? Yes, you're real. So stop with the notion that the internet is not real. That's not true. And that what's posted here is not real. That's not true. It's not true. It's never been true. And hence trolling. Now, one of the aspects of trolling is people creating fake accounts on Facebook, on Twitter. I tried Twitter years ago. I'm a conversationalist by nature. So I can't keep up with just the sheer number of comments that somebody can make, especially if the person is popular. I want to grab a conversation and chat. And then, if it's a famous person, this situation with Jamie Foxx, for example, I'm sure Twitter has blew up. He's been in the hospital and he finally responded. Apparently, he's doing a little bit better. I believe it was a stroke or something that somebody suggested that he experienced. And so he's a famous person, a singer, musician, actor, father, on and on and on and on. And so I could only imagine when somebody tweeted out that he went into the hospital. If you're trying to converse and try to get some information, it's hard to do. So Twitter just didn't work for me. But for those on Twitter, you understand. And if you cool with Twitter and, on and on and on and on, that's your business. Truth Social, with all due respect, whatever. So my point here is these are platforms that allow people to go on and, yes, maybe say funny things and all of that, just wanting to be lighthearted. But lighthearted doesn't mean it's not real. It's just lighthearted. But in that, there are those. Let me see which article this is. No, this is not the one I want. And I'll post these on my Facebook page, which is acting up right now. I looked up an article on some research regarding trolling. Again, and trust me, there's a lot of articles out there. And sometimes I don't say this enough, but I want to encourage you, those who are not necessarily avid readers and things like that, go and look up actual documentation and read articles about people. If you have any empathy inside you at all, I mean, I'm trying to be respectful here. If there's anything sympathetic or empathetic in you, look up articles, read some things. You don't have to go get books. If that's not your thing, you're not an avid reader, then don't. I'm not necessarily a major reader. I read for understanding and move on. And trust me, it works for me. I got a bachelor's degree doing it. I did not read whole entire books. I didn't do it. And I got a 3.65 GPA. I can grab things quick and move on. So I can go and grab some articles real quick, Google, boom, read, get it, and assimilate it and disseminate it fairly quickly. But here's this article. Let me see if I can get the link here. It's called New Research Shows Trolls Don't Just Enjoy Hurting Others, They Also Feel Good About Themselves. Again, new research shows, this is the title, trolls don't just enjoy hurting others, they also feel good about themselves. Published September 16th, 2020. And I'm looking, there it is, for the link. Try to see if I can get the Facebook up again. Here's what it says. I'm not obviously going to read all of this. What is trolling? In scientific literature, I should tell you something. In scientific literature, Internet trolling is defined as a malicious online behavior characterized by aggressive and deliberate provocation of others. Let me read that again. In scientific literature, internet trolling is defined as a malicious online behavior characterized by aggressive and deliberate provocation of others. Trolls seek to provoke, upset, and harm others via inflammatory messages and posts. That's the goal. To inflame, to upset. That's what trolls do. Again, I didn't get permission from my Facebook friend to talk about her situation, so I'm not going to, but I interacted with a gentleman a couple of different times. She likes to share. She may be watching me now, but she can make herself known as she likes. But she likes to share her faith. Now, we so happen to share a faith, our Christian beliefs. And so, I read her posts and things of that nature, as I do many posts. I'm not going to sit here and say all the people's posts I read. Gabe, you read mine? I'm not going there, so don't ask me. But I have clicked on some of her posts that I found interesting, and usually I'm more into the comments than the post itself. And sure enough, I recognized the gentleman straight off, and I went right to see what he had to say, and he went right into. And I almost want to focus in on his comments because they often happen. And I'm not saying Christians are the only ones. I'm not saying that. But as a Christian, I am obviously keenly aware of when it happens. And there's the article for those on Facebook, and I'll do this real quick here for those who are on my YouTube page who might want to go and take a look at it. But if you're on Facebook, you can see an article there. Click on the link, and it'll take you to it. That's the research, and I'm going to share another one in a moment. And I really just got that definition from there. Here's another thing it says on page 2. Trolling can refer to a variety of online behavior, In some circumstances, the intent of the trolling behavior may even be to amuse and entertain. I want you to think about this. So first of all, we read, what is trolling? Think about this. Let me read it all the way through. In scientific literature, internet trolling is defined as a malicious online behavior characterized. It's not real. Listen, online behavior. Behavior suggests real. You can't use the word behavior and then that's not real. No, it's real. Characterized by aggressive and deliberate provocation of others. Trolls seek to provoke, upset, and harm others via inflammatory messages and posts. Trolling can refer to a variety of online behavior. In some circumstances, the intent of the trolling behavior may even be to amuse and entertain. However, in my research, I have explored trolling as a malevolent behavior where the troll wants to hurt their online, watch this word, victim. Gabe, why are you doing a broadcast after all these years of broadcasting about trolling? Didn't you say in the beginning that it doesn't happen to you? It doesn't happen to me, but it does happen, and there is a victim. If I don't do anything else, I'm going to convince you that the online world is a real world. No, Gabe, this is a fake world. No, and there are victims. There are victims. And that in mind, my dear friend posts about her belief system. We so happen to have the same belief system, and I have referred to other people's belief systems that I don't agree with, and I have commented on other people's pages, and I am not mean-spirited when I do. Again, I look forward to the dialogue. And this gentleman, obviously, I'm not going to say his name because I'm indirectly engaging him through her page. But I engaged him the first time, probably last year sometime, and she put some posts and I engaged him again. But as I was reading through his post and yes, praying, for those of you who are Christian, you understand what I'm saying, because in all of our ways, we're supposed to acknowledge him, which would be the Lord, and he shall direct our path. And the Lord gave me some instructions on how to deal with this, but on how to deal with it. And I obeyed those instructions, which was not to just keep going back, and if he make a point, I make a point, he make a point, I make a point, and back and forth, but to first of all acknowledge what she was saying to him. So I went and read her words, because I jumped right in and started engaging him. Not that I didn't pay attention to what she wrote, but I'm just engaging him. Again, I like the back and forth. I like the banter, and I don't mind if somebody tries to go mean with it, because I'm going to hit you with my receipts. That's what I do. Oh, and I have receipts for him. And I dropped 2 or 3 receipts on him, and he bagged all the way off. But once I read her comments and I saw how absolutely certain of her faith she is, then I began to recognize that he was not really engaging her in back and forth conversation. She would make her points, but he would, watch this, call her brainwash. The definition is mean-spirited, is malicious, is deliberate. So I asked him, what's your point here? I stopped with my receipts and I said, what's your point, sir? Because this lady is clearly saying she is not going to alter her faith at all. She is not going to change her course. She is not going another way in any way, shape, or form. So what's your point? And he did exactly what he did previously and what others that I've engaged over the years. I'm here to educate. Now, clearly, I've been a teacher for many years and a school teacher even. He doesn't understand you can't educate those who refuse the education. So if he so happens to watch this and he disagrees with me, he is definitely not an educator. He's not an educator. I had a dean of schools who passed on years ago, highly respected, Dean Rhodes in Fresno. Some of you who are on my Facebook page know exactly who I'm talking about. Sat with a pastor friend of ours. And he said, because this man became a teacher of teachers, and he said, you cannot educate students until you have the respect of those students. Until you have properly gotten their attention, you're not educating anybody. He wasn't there to educate anyone. He was there to attack. He was using words because I suspect that he has gotten pushback in other places and was getting pushback from her. So he would say things to try to shift away from, no, I'm not being mean. And then he went into the typical tropes and things of that nature. I'm not going to take us into game. Well, what was it? No, I'm not going into that. But he was running through, and that's why I knew I had the receipts. I could bag him up because, and if he listens to this, with all due respect, sir, the stuff you're talking about is false. Just in case she shares this and you end up watching it, the stuff you're talking about is false. And I directed him to people who were debunking everything he was posting. And trust me, I had multiple receipts. Now you say, Gabe, what does the receipts mean? That's just a clever way of saying I had my proof. He was making claim after claim after claim as to why Christianity was wrong. But you could see the mean-spiritedness, and then when he would get called on it directly, then he would go into the, I'm just trying to educate. but you don't use words like brainwash with people that you're hoping to favorably educate. You might want to share this out. If you have people of multiple faiths and of multiple political positions, let me just say that one since I'm here. I don't care if you're Democrat, Independent, Republican. If you're trying to engage in a political conversation with someone who is calling you names, yeah, you know, those Democrats, those GOPs, those Republicans, those independents, they just this and they're just that. You're not having a gentleman's debate. If they are calling you names, you need to stop. That's trolling, ladies and gentlemen. That's trolling. They are maliciously trying to say something to you to hurt you. This article is entitled Psychology, the Psychology of Trolling. When a 21-year-old Hamza posted a musical video of himself, he put his life quite literally on the line. I'm not going to read the whole account, so I'll post this link as well. Let me go on and post it in case somebody want to go to it. You want to follow along? Okay, that just gave me the same one. Not sure why. That's not what we want. My apologies, just a moment here. That's the one we want. All right. The psychology of trolling. In case my YouTube viewers might want to look that up and type that into a search. That's don.com/news/170. Or you can type psychology, the psychology of trolling. This article actually came out today. Ironic. Okay. So, shy and reserved by nature. This is about Hamza. Shy and reserved by nature, the aspiring young musician wished to share his passion with the world. So he took to the internet to post a video displaying his musical talent from the comfort of his room without having to socialize in real life. This is actually why some people believe that the internet is not real. That's just foolishness. It's not the same thing as being out in social spaces, but it is very real. Now this is him talking. I had always thought music was my true calling, says the 21-year-old. However, I did not have the confidence to play live in front of an audience, since that would trigger my social anxiety. I hope you're listening. A friend suggested that I post my music online instead. Still, sharing his secret passion was like exposing a part of his innermost self. Here he's talking again. I had to muster a lot of courage to post my video online, he admits. And the world was not kind to him in return. While his video garnered some positive feedback, mostly it was panned by random strangers. Reading the negative comments that inundated his feed pushed Hamza into a dark place. It plunged me into depression, he says, so much so that it led him to attempt suicide. He realizes now He didn't succeed, thankfully. He realizes now that the opinions of people hiding behind spam accounts should not have bothered him, but at that moment, they chipped away at his already fragile self-esteem. When you are being bullied, that's why I say trolling is, to me, just a lower level of bullying in your real life. At least you can take a stand against one person, he explains. On the internet, however, I did not know how to fight these nameless, faceless people. According to various surveys across the world, there has been a rise in cases of people suffering from mental health issues after being trolled or harassed online. In internet parlance, trolling is a type of online bullying, there you go, and is defined as aggressive and malicious online behavior. Trolls seek to deliberately provoke bullying and harm others via inflammatory messages and posts. There you go. 2 different websites written 7 years apart, and there you have it. Maybe they looked at the same website I looked at and got the same information. They go on to talk about cyberbullying, and I'll leave those articles for you to read. They're posted there. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen, this is a real thing. And that bully, yeah, I'm saying it just in case he's listening, tried to hide behind the idea that all I'm trying to do is educate. All I'm trying to do is just inform. See, I used to be like her. That's what he was telling me. I used to read the Bible. I used to believe that as well. But then my eyes were opened and all of this kind of thing. And see, that's brainwashed. So by supposing that, yes, see, I'm admitting that I was brainwashed once upon a time too, it's okay for me to come at you in this way. Because some trolls don't use fake accounts. In his defense, some trolls don't make up fake accounts. They come at you directly. There is a self-righteousness. There is an attitude of, I have a right, self-right. Self-righteousness means self-right. I'm right by my own definition. In case you didn't know that. Self-righteousness means I am right in my own eyes. And clearly, that gentleman, like many, believe they are right. And they have a right. And they hide under things like freedom of speech. I have a right to pick on you because you're weak. I have a right to pick on you because you're depressed. I have a right to pick on you because you can't fight back. Because when I got into the fight, I noticed his tone with me was different. You can say, well, gave you 2 men and on and on and on. And if he's watching this, oh, he'll probably be ready to go. Well, sir, come on to my page, send me a friend request. So I'm going to start posting, and I want you to come on my page, and I want you to respond to me like you were to my friend, so that you and I can go back and forth and be on equal footing. But let me say again, I'm coming with receipts. Preacher, teacher, pastor, doing it 30 years, come for me. And I'm not suggesting my dear friend is afraid in any way, because she held her own. But I am fully prepared to give an answer for the faith that lies in me. If your intent is to inform, if your intent is genuine, to just simply disseminate some information for back and forth conversation. See, a troll, listen, is not intended on doing that. Now, I'm focusing in from a Christian perspective, because many Christians get trolled online. They do. I have occasional people texting me, Gabe, I don't know how to answer this. Somebody came on my page, or they caught me at the grocery store, and they told me that I'm brainwashed and I'm stupid, and girl, you ain't no hell, ain't no this, and and man, why are you doing this? I get these questions from time to time via messenger, text message, phone call, and I help my brothers and sisters the best I can to give them answers for how to address those matters. But let me just say, in answer to that, Proverbs chapter 23. Some of you may know it, but let's go there. Because even I have to be reminded. This is why I wanted to take a Christian focus. Even I have to be reminded. There we go. That we don't actually supposed to answer. All right, there we go. And I want to make sure you see this one. A troll, in my opinion, an online troll fits this description, and I say this respectfully. But Proverbs chapter 23, verse 9 says, don't speak to a fool, for he will despise the insight of your words. So we're not simply saying a person is a fool without qualification, and the scripture gives you qualification. They will despise the insight of your words. That gentleman had no intention of regarding what was being said by me and by the one who put the original post up. He was dismissive immediately, called it brainwashed, and then, yeah, but what about this, and what about this, what about this? The rules of engagement were not being honored because he wanted to have his words and his videos completely acknowledged while dismissing what I was saying and what my dear friend was saying. That's a fool. That's a fool. That's not even honoring the rules of engagement, of debate, of discussion. That's foolishness. Because he had no chance whatsoever, even if he's 100% right, of having any impact, because his manner, his intent, his attitude was wrong. It was inflammatory. And he cut his legs off. He cut his nose off to spite his face. His ankle was hurting, so he cut his legs off at the knees. That's literally what he did. For proverbially speaking. So this is what happens with trolls. Why do you do a broadcast like this, Gabe? So you will not engage these people. And that's essentially what the Lord reminded me of. Gabe, you don't engage these people. Now, I did my pastoral, I'm not saying I'm her pastor, but I did my pastoral job, and I looked after one of God's sheep. And I bagged him up. And whether he would want to admit it or not, that's what happened. I bagged him up. Because you can literally, unless he goes and deletes his comments, you can see once I hit him with 2 or 3, not regarding his responding to him, but I hit him with 2 or 3 and how he was dealing with her, he chilled. Now, he may have come back at another post that I didn't read, but he chilled. So pastorally speaking, I'm going to stand up for the sheep. Even if you don't have to be a member of some particular place I pastor, I'm going to stand up for you. That's what I'm on the planet to do. That's what I'm on the planet to do. And if she's watching, I'm saying to her, my advice would be, go ahead and delete him and block him. If he won't take the deletion, block him. You're speaking to a fool. And in modern day parlance, a troll. A troll has no intentions. If you recall the definition that I've given multiple times, a troll has no desire for a real discussion. And some of us, obviously I've shared my own experience, laboring, trying to get them to see something, and then you try to convince yourself from a Christian standpoint, because God can change anybody. The scriptures say, do not speak to a fool, for he will despise the insight of your words. I believe it's Jesus who comes along later and says, cast not your pearls before swine. Literally saying the exact same thing. As a matter of fact, before swines and dogs would have been wild dogs, not tame dogs, domesticated dogs, no, wild dogs. Because they will trample your pearls underfoot and then they will turn and tear you to pieces. Wild boars, hogs, and wild, untamed, undomesticated dogs. Don't cast your pearls, especially to my Christian brothers and sisters. Share your faith, that's fine. But the moment you see them attacking you, calling you brainwashed, telling you you're stupid for believing the white man's religion, and they took books out of the Bible, that stuff has been debunked. Listen to me right now, because I suspect this could be easily shared, and I'm not going to say any names right through here. This could be easily shared with some others. I've had some conversations about this over the years. That whole took books out of the Bible has been debunked. Some of that stuff that these people are using has been dealt with 100 times 100. Generation after generation. The book of Enoch was not inspired. The book of Maccabees 1 and Maccabees 2 is not inspired. Don't let anybody tell you. And second of all, that you want me to prove it? They're talking about the Latin Vulgate, which none of you read. I don't read. I don't read Latin. And the Latin Vulgate is a translation, is a Latin translation of the Greek. It's not the original writing. And the book of Enoch, while it has some things that give you time frame and pieces, it's not the inspired written word of God. So stop with this. They took books out of the Bible. No, you don't clearly know what you're talking about, and you have no interest in being educated. So how dare you try to educate somebody else? You're just a troll. That's all you are. That's all you are. You're just a troll. And according to the scripture, you're a fool. And whether you're a Christian or not, I'm saying to you who's listening to me, leave those people be. Because the internet is real. And people have not attempted suicide, only they have killed themselves. And there is one account after another. This is why I'm not running to get my son on social media. Because they won't care that he's 13. And I know some of you let your kids and grandkids. I'm not here to talk about that tonight. If you want to have a conversation, hit me up on Facebook Messenger. If you got my number, let's talk, and I'll share with you my perspective. Now, remember, I work in mental health. Also, keep in mind, let me say this to you, just in case you won't contact me, young people's mental disposition. I'm not talking about their book smarts. Their mental disposition is not fully developed. I know grown people who don't have a fully developed sense of themselves. And social media, because it is real, will eat them alive. Will eat them alive. Because there are people like I have been talking about for nearly an hour who will go after them. And what did I read? They do it for entertainment and amusement, but also they feel good about themselves. Yeah, but Gabe, that's not. Yeah, I know it's not. That's why I'm telling you, be cautious about putting your children or permitting your children to get on Instagram and Snapchat and all the rest of them and get into private chat rooms, let alone talking about people who are praying, preying after them. We're not going to even get into that tonight. That's a whole broadcast in and of itself. Internet protections and things you got to build in. So you understand that this is a real thing. It is bullying, even though some articles try to suggest, well, it's different. No, it's bullying. It's malicious. It's intended to be hurtful. They are calling you names. They may not even know you. Again, you get these bots. They don't even know you. They're fake accounts. They're hiding. That's not their real name. That's not even their real picture. They're coming after you. Well, again, why would they come after me? Because there are things that you are posting on your page, and They are coming after you. I've had people with this Bitcoin nonsense coming after me. And no matter how cordial I've tried to be in the past, no, I'm not interested. Oh, are you afraid? Okay, done with you. Bye. You got to go. I'm a whole grown man raising a young man. I ain't got time for you. If I tell you I'm not interested, don't come back telling me about what I'm afraid of like you know me. Again, I got receipts. I'm ready for you. Well, I don't even waste time with them. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a non-thing, and you know it. So you're trolling, in my opinion. And it's a get-rich-quick scheme for those who get into it. How do you know, Gabe? I got receipts. I try to tell you about this stuff. I know about that stuff. I looked that stuff up. I am keenly aware. Now, I know some of you have dumped money into, you have put your money into it. I'm not here to tell you to take your money out. I'm just encouraging you to do a little bit more research beyond trying to get a quick buck. I'm just encouraging you to realize that it ain't going to be what you think it is. And yeah, people have gotten rich, but it ain't going to be what you think it is. So that's my broadcast for tonight. I just wanted to come on and really kind of deal with that whole, particularly as Christians, we need to be mindful. But honestly, people get trolled about, again, politics, what they're doing with their children. There are people who just want to be curmudgeons. Yeah, I said it. They just want to anything you post. Maybe let me be general for a second. Anything you post, they got some negative say. When I was growing up, the old folks, now I shouldn't do that because not every older person was like this, but many of course, they've died. Pretty much most of them are dead now. But you walk into a place of worship, and if your hair wasn't quite right, they just couldn't help themselves, quote unquote. Well, they were trolling before trolling was trolling. And they would sit there whispering under their breath. I know, because I sat next to some of them and hated it. Ooh, look at them, and look what they got on. Oh, that's a shame. And we had a funeral, for goodness sake. What are you doing? Oh, that pastor up there, he show up there long, ain't he? Yeah, he up there long. Yeah, you know, his wife don't like it. I mean, what the world does his wife liking him got to do with the fact he's up there preaching at a funeral? The whole idea behind trolling online and bullying people offline is to be mean. And it's entertaining. It's entertaining to them. And I'm telling you, I'm begging you, if you have these people on your Facebook page, do not waste your breath or your hand finger energy with explaining to them why it's okay for you to post on your page or to respond to your mama's post or whatever to your coworker. Do not get into an explanation. Block the comment and keep moving. Don't waste any mental energy on these people. Now, I didn't get into the psychology. I could go much deeper than I did. I just read that article about that young man because I wanted you to see this is way more serious. Again, I work in mental health. I've been counseling people from a pastoral standpoint for almost 30 years. But working specifically in mental health for years. And I've had to talk to clients who get triggered online. You know, now they get triggered by all kinds of things, but in terms of their mental health. But I'm telling you, this is real. And we have to stop this nonsense that this ain't real. And some of you are not being honest. You ain't lying to me, you lying to yourself. You have gotten offline after reading some disparaging comments that were said on something you posted, and it did bother you. Okay, it bothered you, and you're not being honest. And that's a sign of a mental situation that you're not being honest about. And you actually even afraid to post again because this person was a family member. This was a close friend, and you didn't know they felt that way until you put your post up, and then they didn't respond to your baby pictures or to the pictures of your nephew or something in the way that you thought. As a matter of fact, I'm going to prove it with one receipt that proves everything I've said tonight to be true. If you put on your Facebook, Instagram, any other social media platform, something that reads along these lines, If you don't read the whole post and share it, you're not my friend. You, my friend, are affected by what's happening online, and you need to get offline, or you need to just block everybody and have no friends. You supposedly have genuine friendships in quote unquote real life, but you literally share posts that say, and if you don't share this post, you reduce your friendships and your family ties down to one post, and if they don't share it, they're not your friend. And then you're trying to tell me you're not triggered? You're not impacted by a troll? You're lying. I said it. Come for me. Come for me. I'm going to go right to the post on your page where you keep sharing stupid nonsense like that, because I'm not going to share it ever. I don't care if I agree with every word of it. I'm not sharing it. And if I'm not your friend for not sharing it, I was never your friend in the first place. If friendship is based on some notion of sharing some post because you really like it, then we are not friends. Because how dare you tell your friends what to do? What kind of friendship do you have where you can just tell me what to do? You ain't my friend, because my friends don't tell me what to do. Okay, that ain't trolling. I know that ain't trolling, but I threw that in just to help somebody out. And when you get in a bad situation, yeah, sometimes you go through something and then you really find out who your friends are. What's wrong with you? You need to call me for some counseling. Why are you posting that? The fact is, were you being a good friend in the first place so that people will reach out to you? Gabe, I'll be there for everybody. What do you mean by be there for them? Because maybe you're interpreting being there for them, meaning doing whatever you want to do. It doesn't mean that they saw it as being there for them. Second of all, if they're really your friend, I'm going to go in on you for my last few minutes. If they're really your friend, then you know what capacity and capability they have to be able to speak to whatever you're going through. Maybe that person that you consider to be your friend doesn't have the capacity to be able to speak to the loss of your mama. They don't have the capacity to speak to the loss of your daddy. They don't have the capacity to know how to sympathize and empathize with you losing your job. And so, as we were taught when I was a kid, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. And they are operating in that principle. And now you're telling them that unless they come and try to tell you something, they're not your friend. But if they say something and hurt your feelings, you're still going to drop them. Tell me I'm wrong. If they don't appease you the way you want to be appeased, then they're not your friend. Well, they're not your friend. And I would never be a friend with anybody like that anyway. Good riddance. Deuces, get off my page. I'm done with you. What kind of friendships are you talking about where you're dictating to people how they got to tiptoe around you? Because if they don't tiptoe around you the way you want, then they can't possibly be your friend. Excuse me, Miss Entitled, Mr. I got it all and nobody can change what I... No, that's not friendship by definition. By definition. Stop posting that nonsense. If you're going through something, call those people on the phone. Why are you posting that online? Call them. That's your friend. Hey, man, I'm going through something. I'm going to tell you what I know because I get paid to know it. Most of us ain't even transparent. Come for me. Come for me. Most of us don't even tell the truth. How you doing today? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. You're lying. Well, okay, they should figure it out. How? Read your mind? When do they become psychics? When? When do they become prophets and prophetess? Why people got to prophesy to you? Why can't you just tell them, look, man, this is what I'm going through. I lost somebody 10 years ago. I'm still hurting. I'm still grieving. And they might give you advice. Hey, man, I don't really know what to tell you. Why don't you call Pastor Gabe? And then call me. That's friendly advice. That's good advice. And I will help you walk through grief. Because that's what I'm qualified to do. Pastor Gabe, if you don't know me, Pastor Gabe, how are you? For free, by the way. I don't charge for stuff. Some of my friends wish I would, but hey, it is what it is. I do my job. If the person doesn't have the ability to answer your grief, your pain, your loss, your frustration, whatever it may be, if you're really their friend, then understand. And then that's when you contact a local pastor or a counselor, people who can address the issue. But let's start with, are you even being open and honest in the darn first place? And if you're going to get online, you don't, I'm going to say it again, you don't bash people that you want to reach out and help you. I don't even think we get it. I think most of us have never been trained on how to go through difficulty. Well, okay, there's no training for that. Yeah, it is. It's generational training, not curse training. I'm supposed to be able to watch my parents lose their parents and be able to understand from them what that's like. So when my parents pass away, I can show my son how to handle that. I'm supposed to be able to watch my parents and my aunts and my uncles and see how to deal with financial struggles or cars breaking down. Well, why am I handling not having a car the way I'm handling it? Because I watched my parents go through it. And they were patient. And they understood we got to do what we got to do. And that's what I'm doing. I didn't learn this on my own. I learned it from them. But not everybody knows how to handle grief. Not everybody knows how to handle loss. And this notion that your bestie is going to automatically know how to handle that. They don't know what to do if you end up in the hospital for 2 and 3 and 5 weeks. They may not know what to do. They may not know who to call. They may not know. No, in a pinch, they don't know. They can't think well on their feet. As a matter of fact, they're hurting so much behind your situation, they're trying to hide it from you because they know you're going through. Oh, I'm going to speak up for them tonight. I'm done with trolling. Let me speak up for them. They really are hurting, and they don't know how to express it, and they're afraid to pile on you by telling you about what they're hurting behind you. So they're trying to put a smile on their face, and you're up there wanting them to do one thing, and they're trying to do another thing, and everybody's not communicating, and then you get on Facebook, and you blast them. And they know who you're talking about, and you know you're talking about them. Oh, you may not say their name. You may say, some people claim to be my friend. Do you not think these people don't get it? Oh, I just lost a friend. Well, they wasn't my friend in the first place. Really? Could it be that you mistreated them? Yeah, but Gabe, I'm the one hurting. But does you hurting give you permission to hurt people? Because you lost somebody, that gives you permission to hurt them? I don't understand where you get that thinking from, but there is no such thing. And some of you maybe have never known true loneliness. I'm not talking about you want to be married and you don't have a mate. No, I mean where literally you could be sitting in a room full of people and all you got is your thoughts. And you don't even trust yourself to say to people what you're thinking. That's loneliness in its truest sense. And you could literally be married and be lonely. And unfortunately, I say this respectfully, that is a byproduct of the way you think and how you treat people. You don't allow people to get close? Well, what do you think is going to happen when you suddenly need people to be close? But you spend your life isolated, introverted, away from everybody. And now, when you need people, after spending all this time away from people, you can't figure out why they don't run to your side. But day after day, week after week, for years, they said, how are you? Good. Oh, I'm strong, girl. I'm strong, man. I can handle stuff. I went through stuff when I was a child. I can handle it. Okay, handle it then. Because the very words that you're using are meant to communicate that you don't need anybody. And then you get on your social media page and share that I don't have anybody. Why don't you get on your social media page and admit you potentially ran them all the way? At least I would respect you. At least say one line, and it's possible that I pushed you away. It's possible that I was spending so much time being strong. It's possible. As a matter of fact, I want to thank my friend for allowing me to come on her page and to speak up and address of that gentleman. Because she could have technically told me, Gabe, I got it. And I would have respected that. But she allowed me to address the matter. She allowed me to speak to what he was saying. And even at a point, I gave some regard to what she was saying. She could have said, Gabe, you didn't even get my words right. I was very careful to acknowledge that she spoke. Not just the original post, but that she had some things to say throughout the post. There are people in this world, and I know some of you just can't believe it because you can't trust nobody, so I'm going to say it right to you. There are people you can trust in this world. They are imperfect. They will let you down at least once, but it doesn't mean you cannot trust them. You're going to have to lower your standard and dial it down to human, because you're not superhuman, nor are they. I try not to make promises I don't plan on keeping with my son or anyone else. I do my best to come through with what I say, and I will suffer until I do. It doesn't make me superhuman. It just makes me a human in full recognition and self-awareness. And I'm not even considering myself a good person. But there are some very good people in the sense, and when I say good, I'm not talking in the terms of God, because we know there's none good. What I mean by good is from a horizontal standpoint of there are people, not everybody is, with all due respect, Donald Trump. Not everybody is Jeffrey Dahmer. Not everybody is, et cetera, et cetera. Not everybody is trying to kill you, hurt you, harm you. Not everybody is a troll. Not everybody is a bully. Some people are misguided. Some people don't always know what to do. Raise my hand. We don't always know what to say. You're right. We may not always know when to say it. Hey, I'm on that list. But when I figure it out, I'm coming. And I'm coming to say something. And I don't respond to everything I read online, obviously. Doesn't mean I ain't praying for you. If I got to comment on everything so you know we friends, we're not friends. I'm not going to do it. I'm just telling you now, I don't have the time. I don't have the mental, emotional energy. I got over 1,200 quote unquote friends on Facebook. I don't have that kind of time. I don't. But when I get an opportunity, I try to respond. Some of you have direct contact with me. If nothing else, Facebook Messenger. If you really want me to respond, contact me and say, Gabe, this is what I'm going through. People do. And I respond. I got receipts. I respond. Just about every time. Maybe not immediately, but just about every single time I respond. And I don't even consider myself a good person. So trolls, we covered that, but I threw that little extra in last few minutes. Stop this nonsense. You are potentially turning away people who can truly be there for you. But you're not opening yourself up and then get mad because of your own doing. Because you are closed off to people. Gabe, you don't know what I've been through. I'm going to assume you've been through human experiences. So maybe I do know what you've been through, because you are not Superman or you're not Captain Marvel, and so your experiences are based on this planet. So I'm going to assume that your Earth-based experiences fit within categories that I am very familiar with as a person who's been providing some measure of counsel for 30 years. I suspect that there is little to nothing that you're going to tell me that I have not already heard and helped people deal with or have dealt with personally. And also keep in mind, I work in mental health. So that means I'm working with people who are homeless. I'm working with people who have dual diagnosis of drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and mental health issues, bipolar, schizophrenic, delusions, hallucinations, anxiety, depression, you name it, suicidal ideations, on and on and on and on and on. And I get the sneaky suspicion that what you are dealing with falls in those categories. I have counseled people who have grieved over losing parents, grandparents, children, nieces, nephews, best friends early in life, etc. So I get the sneaky abuse. I don't even want to go into that. But I have talked to many who have been through all kind of forms of neglect, sexual mishandling, misuse, misconduct, abuse, misogyny, racism, you name it, all of isms. All of isms. And if I can't help you, I can refer you to licensed counselors that I work with who can help you. I'm 49 years old. I'm not 29. I got a few experiences on this planet. And I seek to learn from them so I can benefit others. That's what I'm on I keep saying it. I don't know if anybody's listening. It's what I'm on the planet to do. I'm not on the planet just to live my life and then die. No, I learn from my experiences so that I can teach others. I do my best so that I can help as many as I possibly can. And I suspect that there's people watching me now who can testify to that, so I'm going to leave that alone. Share this out. Get this in front of as many people as you can. Please delete, block, get rid of those who are simply trolling you. I don't care if they're family. Talk to them in another way. If they are mean and malicious and bullying you on your post and laughing and calling you weak and calling you brainwashed, get them off your page. Get them out of your social media life, and if you have to, get them out of your life completely. Speak not into the ears of a fool. All right. See you next week. I don't say this as often as I should. If you have a topic you would like me to consider, send it to me. Post it on Facebook, on YouTube. Message me. Let me know. Text me if you got my number. And I will consider it if I feel like I can give a good address to it and have me some receipts in my talking about it. I will give it a go. If I don't feel like I can address it, I'll let you know and maybe suggest it even to others that I know who have addressed the topic, and I can send you YouTube videos. I do it all the time. And if you want to really get into a topic, I don't mind Christian biblical topics as well, but, you know, kind of give me some idea of what you're talking about. All right. That's it. Have a good night. Until next week, be blessed.